Hello and welcome to this Dev Diary for Platon. I am Aleph Null Productions and this is my first real game. I hope you guys enjoy it. I just wanted to make this as an opportunity to kind of show off what I was doing, what I've been thinking, and where I'm going with this. So this is Platon. It comes from an older game back in the Super Nintendo Genesis era called Zoop, which was made during that time when Tetris was like really big, and so people kind of wanted to capture that lightning in a bottle a second time, and so there's a bunch of other real-time puzzly kind of games that came out. This was one of them, or Zoop was one of them, but it struggled under bad design, bad graphics, and bad audio, but I still had a lot of fun with it, so I decided to bring it back with a little bit more interesting effects and implementation. So here we go. It is Platon. It is called Platon because it is based on the 5 Platonic solids, which are the 5 geometrical shapes that can be created in 3 dimensions using the same shape, 2-dimensional shape, iterated over and over again. So you've got your triangle, your cube, your octahedron, your dodecahedron, and your iconahedron. In some philosophies, they are tied to the 5 elements, and therefore, in my game, I have them attached to those elements. I have some basic options, although I do need to work on this some more. It doesn't work with the controllers, same as everything else, but this does, and that's cool. And then, so let's begin. So the game kind of has 2 simple rules. You can shoot, and when you have a target. So when you shoot something that is the same as your target, it destroys it. When you shoot something that's of a different type than your target, it swaps. That's really the entire game. There is a secondary objective, which is that if you get 3 of them in a row and you destroy them, then you will spawn what's called a Metatron's cube. And here we go. There's the Metatron's cube. And if you see, the Metatron cube actually changes colors as I switch elements. The reason why that is because when the Metatron cube gets hit, it will destroy every copy of that element. Let me show you. Boom! There goes all of the yellow elements, except for that one because it was just about to spawn. So using these Metatron cubes end up being a very valuable way of progressing in the game. And so setting up these 3 stacks is really important. In the original game, there actually was a thing that made it so that the combos happened more often. If a certain element spawned, then the chances of that element spawning next actually increased. I actually opted to not do that. I think that the user has enough freedom to rearrange things that they can construct their own combos and then feel good about themselves for their cleverness in doing so. However, the Metatron's cube isn't the only power-up I want. One of the fancy things I did is that if you shoot these spawners and there's nothing there, then it forces them to spawn one. One of the things is that the event is timed. Therefore, a mechanism to allow one to speed up the process if one decides to was important. Oh, I just destroyed a 3 without actually getting it. That's too bad. I want to make like bombs and stuff like that, but it's really it really has to do with what kind of interest I get in the actual game itself. Right now we have a fairly simple leveling system. You'll see it here. There is 9 levels total. The levels iterate in series of 3 increasing difficulty. So 1, 2, and 3. 3 is the most difficult, and then it actually backs off again now that I'm in level 4. Things actually slow back down to let the user, let the player get used to the new element that I've introduced, which is now the square. So now we've got 4 elements. We started with only 3. Now we got 4. And if we make it all the way to level 7, then we will see the 5th element, which would be the iconahedron, I think? I'm pretty sure. The white one. The element of spirit, as it were. And I try to make it so all of the particle effects match kind of what the vibe is for the thing. I'm not 100% satisfied with all of the particle effects. I did like the little sparkles on the outside that react to what is going on in the game. When you destroy something, it pulses out a set of the thing that you destroyed. And as you go through the levels, it actually indicates to you when you have pressed through to a different threshold, because it will add the new color to its design. So right now we've only got the 4 colors, and if I make it to the level 7, right? 8, 9, yeah, 7, 8, 9, yeah. So if I make it to level 7, which it looks like I might do, which is nice if I'm going to be demonstrating it, then you'll see white get added. Here we go. So now you've got white added to the particles on the sides, and white is added to the list of things that can spawn to give the player just another level of challenge. One of the things that was most challenging about this game is that because the rule set is somewhat obtuse and the strategy to be successful not necessarily obvious, what I discovered was often players would spend more time learning how the game works than the game really held up on its own. So generally speaking, what happened was by the time people figured out what was going on, they were sort of over it. And that's fine. That was a problem with the original game. So the question then becomes, how do we make learning the game easier, more straightforward, and more interesting and rewarding? One of my solutions has been this leveling system, so that way the difficulty ramps up in a way that lets you understand things a little bit better, rather than just throw everything at you at once. I also want to make levels that have different objectives, very much like maybe even a Candy Crush style thing, where each level kind of has its own story and there's progression with different things to do. What I've done so far is, right now there's actually only 9 levels. At the end of the 9th level, you actually just win if you've made it that far. We'll see if we do. But I think level 9 is going to be different than all of the other levels. I did make it so that they require an increasing number of pieces to finish. That was a close one. But I mean, the fact that it just ends, and actually I don't really give a good indicator that you've won necessarily, although that's something I'm going to work on. So here I am in level 9, and you can tell because at this point it's become 100% white in the background when I'm not destroying things, and that's kind of to give the user a final visual clue that they are about to win or about to lose, depending on how the pressure goes. Also, this kind of inspired me that one of the things I'm thinking about doing is making it so that the 9th level doesn't end, which offers a really good challenge to somebody who just wants to be better than the other people or better than themselves. Hang tight. Oh, there. See, I won. So yeah, that's my game, man. It takes about 7 minutes to beat. Also, the faster you destroy things, the higher your combo makes, the bigger the points you make. So like this game, I got 30,000. In other games, I've gotten up to 50 or 60,000. I think that kind of makes good for like a leaderboard that I want to add in next. But like I said, I've got some ideas, and it really depends on what kind of traction I get and what people seem to be digging into. So this is my game. I appreciate you guys watching this. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. I would more than appreciate feedback. As I said, this was almost entirely made from scratch. Obviously, the sound effects and some of the particle effects I didn't make, but the code and the models and everything I did. This has been a pretty fun project. If you're interested in it, you can pick it up on itch.io. If you're interested in supporting me, you can follow me on Twitter or message me on my YouTube. I hope to be getting a more formal community building tool as I finish up this game and move on to the next. If you're interested in looking into game development, or if you want anything talked about or addressed, or maybe gone into like a tutorial, please let me know. I'd be very interested in doing that kind of thing. With that being said, thank you all for listening, and I will see you next time.